I'm going to show you a really simple way to get your cheap sub $20 handheld onto digital radio modes with a board called the all-in-one cable. And the board actually costs more than the radio, which is kind of ironic, but I don't make radios in million scale units where I can make the price a little bit lower. I wish I could, but I live in an RV, which explains the really weird curved ceiling over my head here that most ham shacks don't have. Let's get this board flashed up and soldered up and get our radio programmed up. This is how I set up the AIOC workflow to do the firmware updates. Some of this you won't have to do, some of this you will have to do, some of this you might have to do. It all depends. I'm going to show you all of it. What I have on my screen are two different Linux terminals. You can do this, you can do the bottom screen of this in Windows, and it really kind of doesn't matter if you are not doing more than one at a time. But if you're doing more than one at a time, I like to do this. So the first thing that I do is I go up to this top window and I hit Control R to search my command history, and then I start typing in the command that I want, which is watch. What watch does is every 2 seconds, it's going to run that command that I told it to run, and that command is ls for list. It's a list stuff. It's a Unix norm from way back in the 70s. So list files, list USB, list block devices, list PCI devices, etc. So right now, this is all of the stuff that is on my USB bus. And you can see the Foundation 2.0 root hub, the Foundation 3.0 root hub, and that's because the machine in question has the black ports, the 2.0 ports, and the blue ports, the 3.0 ports. And it also has USB-C ports. So you've got 4 different USB hubs going on in one machine. And for reference, it's that machine sitting right up there behind me, which is attached to that screen with my logo on it, which we're not using the screen at all. I just, happen to like having the logo on in the background of the videos. It looks kind of nice. So that is the top screen, is going to watch what's going on. On your AIOC boards, right up next to the USB-C port, there is a row of holes that's actually supposed to be for pin headers. And what I have is a little jumper here. And what you can do is just use a paper clip or a piece of spare wire or a clip off of a resistor leg or a capacitor leg or something, as long as it conducts electricity. Put it into the first hole down here and the last hole up here. And I like to do it on the underside of the board, that way the USB-C port isn't in the way. And now I have my jumper installed and I'm making an electrical connection there. And sometimes even I have a little bit of trouble with this. I usually just kind of do it by feel into the bottom hole and the top hole, and we're all set. And then when you're done, pull it back out, and now you've got your AIOC cable ready to go. Next up, I get my USB-C cable from that computer up there behind me on the shelf, and I plug it in. Watch that top screen over there on the screen share. When I plug it in, 2 seconds or less, it's going to say STM Microelectronics STM device in DFU mode, data firmware update mode, or something along those lines. Now it's connected, and I can run my firmware command, which is where this bottom line comes in here. So again, I do my Control R to search back in my command history, DFU util. This is the command line. I'll leave the command line down in the description of the video, both of them. And I'll also leave the place where you go to get the latest version of the firmware. You can see the command line here, sudo super user do sudo dfu-util. Dfu-util is the name of the utility that we use to program DFU mode devices, which is what this STM32, I forget what STM, it's the company name, STM, and then 32, it's a 32-bit microcontroller. -A0 is the, I guess, the device or whatever. -X, -S, 0x08, many zeros, is the location of buffer space that we want to leave at the beginning, I think. I'm not 100% sure of this. I copied it out of the manual. You're going to copy it out of the description. We're going to get it done. -D, and then that is the name of the binary image ROM file, the AIOC firmware 1.4.1 bin, which is the latest as of the time of this recording at the end of March 2026. It'll work with more versions in the future as they come out. It's the same command going forward. And if it's not, I'll make another video, so be sure you're subscribed to the channel to see when that one comes out. After you get that command up on your screen, press Enter to run it. It's going to do a couple of things. First, it's going to erase, which it's doing now, and then as if on cue, it's going to start downloading the firmware from that 1.41 firmware file that we have onto the chip. These things come blank from the chip fab, the fabrication plant that makes the chips, and then they get put onto the little PCB boards that we have here. And when they are put on here, they're still blank. And then I get them. I put the first firmware on the device, so it's ready to go. I also kind of test to make sure that the whole device works and does the thing that it's supposed to do as best as I can possibly do. And then I ship it out to you. When you get it, you don't have to do the jumper thing. I'm going to disconnect it. We're going to do another cool trick with that watch command. So watch you watch me watching the watch command in the top of the screen share there. So unplug the AIOC cable. It disappears automatically. I don't need to refresh the command. I don't need to rerun it. The watch command's doing that for me. And then take it and plug it back in without the jumper. Up to 2 seconds later, it shows up as a generic all-in-one cable. So this now works. So where I was going before I started that side ramble, I'm going back, tying it all back together, bringing it all back for you, is run that command again in the lower window, or this might be you wanting to put 1.4.2 or 1.5.0 or whatever firmware on. You don't need to do the jumper anymore after a certain version number. I don't know which version number it was where you needed to stop using the jumper, but try it without the jumper. You probably will be fine because you probably have a newer version. So if I just press enter, it's going to do the exact same thing. It's going to now tell it to detach. You see that it's now an STM device in DFU mode in the watch window at the top. And then it's going to erase. And then it's going to re-download. And I don't know if it's going to automatically reboot the device again and show it up. So we'll see that together in near 2-second real-time delay from the top screen on the screen share. Okay. So submitted leave request, transitioning, it reconnected itself, it's in generic all-in-one cable mode. This thing has been flashed and it has been reflashed, simulating, updating to new firmware if there's something new and exciting out there that you want to see. In your kit, you're going to get your AIOC board, and you're also going to get the 2.5mm and 3.5mm plugs to shove into your radio. So I have my solder kit here, so I'm going to get these things soldered on. I'll show you how that works out. I'm going to need to use my flush cutters. I'm going to need to use my soldering iron. This is the Pine-Sil USB-C or DC barrel jack pluggable soldering iron, and then I use this to clean my soldering iron tip off. And I say solder because I'm an American. That's what we do. Your plugs have that little hole in them right there. Take your clippers and clip that off. Snip, snip on each of them. Wear some eye protection or something because those pieces will fly, or do something useful to make sure that you don't get them in your eye. That would be pretty bad. You're also going to need some kind of soldering jig. I don't have a 3D printer at this time, so I am going to use a $15 Hamfest find soldering jig. This is a Baofeng UV5R3, and this will also serve as my test platform. That part that you cut off, put it in so that that is facing your eyeballs when you're looking at the face of the radio. And it's very important to make sure that you get that thing fully seated in there, because if you don't, this is a problem not with the AIOC, but with the design of the K connector. If you don't get that thing fully seated in there, then it will have trouble making electrical connection and getting your programming done or your audio modes done. We like to take this and put it facing with the USB-C port up. If you put it down, then the cable's going to come out, hit the desk and go over. If you put it this way, then the cable can come out and go wherever you want it to go, kind of a thing. So take care of that. On the back side, while we've got this backside showing, there is a split there. If you have a need to run 2 different wires to use a specific function of ham radio, then maintain that split. For just regular chirp programming or APRS modes or something like that on your Baofengs, you don't need to maintain the split. I'm not going to maintain the split when I build this one, but if you do, you'll know. On the front side, this split here needs to continue to be separate, which is why I put these in with the flat tab for the back side and the split tabs for the front side. These are different electrical connections inside of the radio. So I'm going to take my tool and verify that that is in all the way. That one's in good. That one's in good. That's not going anywhere. And then take this and put it into play. And on your 3.5mm jack, there is a little plastic tab. Let me show you on a spare that I've got here. There's a little plastic tab right underneath of the flat part on the back. You just need to put it in far enough to attach it. You don't need to worry about putting it in there. If you want to remove that and push the whole thing in farther, you are welcome to do that as well. So once you have the back side lined up, that's the important part. I'm going to sit this down. I'm going to plug in my soldering iron and get it up to temperature. All right, this is what I like about this Pine Seal. I have USB-C power all over the place in my ham shack. So I plug her into my USB-C port, and you have to make sure you have a good USB-C power supply. And you turn it on, and look how fast that thing warms up. That's awesome. And that's the operating temperature that I like to have it at. I get my Kester. This is 6337 leaded solder, which makes this whole job a lot easier. And then my tip is clean from the last time. I have a little fresh solder on it to get the job done. And now this soldering jig of mine is holding everything in place like a champ. So I just want to come in and bring some heat to the board, bring some heat to the connector. And this is a physical interface connection, so I try to get a lot. And it looks kind of blobby, but that's because it's a blob. I'll do the same thing on the other one. That one looks so much better. So then I'll do some touch up on this side here, get even more solder on it. And that's the joy of that solder mask. It's going to try and keep those two separate, but I don't have the right kind of connector on here to make that matter much. Okay, and now I can pull that out of the radio and flip it over, and I can do the work on the other side of the connector as well. So on this side here, I just want to make sure that I get those vertical tabs, one on each pad. And now it is its own soldering jig. It's holding itself in place. And I'm going to be a little belts and suspenders here. Make sure that we're only touching the things that we're supposed to be touching. So there's one connected. I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm going to put even more solder on there, which is perfectly allowable. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let that cool off, and then we'll get the radio programmed. Time for the moment of truth. Freshly soldered AIOC cable, all in one cable, AIOC board, and my Baofeng. You can see that she is on. We're plugged in. Now I got to plug it into the computer behind me, and we'll use that same programming cable over the shoulder. We'll use that same cable that I used to do the firmware flash. Once you plug it in, you'll see that it lights up there. And I'll hold this here, and what we'll do is we'll go over to the software. This is Chirp running on Linux, which is running on the machine over my shoulder. And it shows up as an all-in-one cable on Linux. If you're on Windows, it'll show up as COM1, COM2, COM3, whatever. And if you're on Mac, it's going to show up as like a CUTTY. It might still say AIOC. But the procedure after you pick the right one is exactly the same. Pick your vendor, Baofeng. Pick your model, UV5R3. There isn't one, so I'm just going to use the regular UV5R model. I'm going to hit OK, and we'll see, oh, nope, we'll see the warning. Turn off the radio, connect it, make sure it's firmly connected, which is what I was telling you when I was soldering on those pins. If you get that part wrong, it'll never work, and it's the plug, not the board. Hit OK, and now we're cloning from the radio. You can see that light flashing. You can see the light on the front flashing, and we're done. And there is my data from my radio. One more quick test I like to do is I like to go to radio and then upload. And same thing, all in one cable, and it's going to upload the same format. So hit OK, get the same warning, hit OK, and we're writing. You can see the light blinking there. You can see the light blinking on the front of the radio, and we're done. So it works. AIOC board with freshly soldered plugs ready to go, radio programmed up and ready to go. What all can you do with this thing besides program a radio like I just showed you? This is good for digital modes, so you can do 2-meter packet radio or 70-centimeter packet radio. You can do WinLink. You can do radio programming, obviously. You can do APRS. You can do all kinds of 2-meter data modes, and if you have, I've got a radio I want to test with this, so be sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you have an HF radio that has a K connector on it, then you can also do like FT8 style stuff, because this will do PTT, transmit audio, receive audio, and with that split on the back, I understand you can get COS out of a COS style radio, and then you can do All-Star with it as well. One word of caution, one thing to think about, this is only half of the antenna. You're missing the other half of the antenna because you are supposed to be the other half of the antenna. Usually that happens because you're holding on to it. Sometimes if you just have this radio sitting down and you're holding onto your phone with this plugged in and you're doing data modes that way, you're going to get what's called RFI or common mode coming back across the USB cable into the computer, which is going to lock the radio into transmit. Weird stuff's going to happen to your computer. Things are going to go crazy. So make a tiger tail or use a properly balanced antenna for that scenario. And if you happen to have a radio that doesn't have a K connector and you'd like to get in on all the fun, I have these other boards for sale on my store as well. These are the Toads DI boards, and it's got a USB port on one side, sound card chip on it to get you an additional sound card for your computer dedicated just to ham radio, and then a 6-pin interface if you get the hat on the top to connect to your 6-pin radios, or you can wire it in directly. You can actually use the Toads DI board in place of the AIOC board, but it doesn't have the fancy K connector shape type deal to it. Either way, lots of fun can be had in ham radio, and all of that stuff is linked in the description down below for you and ready to go when you are. So if you want to see even more tips for the AIOC, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I have a video for you right over here that's got some tips in it as well. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.